Hey, Marc, Chris Brockman. I'm a Celtics fan, but I remember your time with the Globe. And you,
man.
You were the first person to ask Paul Pierce a question after they closed it out in '08. Can you just compare this team to the '08 team? What are the similarities? What are the big differences?
Man, them '08 dudes was crazy, man. These guys are choir boys compared to the '08 team. KG was just the most intense, ferocious competitor I've ever seen in person. It was such a pleasure to watch him every game. Paul Pierce was extremely competitive. Ray Allen was just like super cool, one of perhaps the most beautiful jump shot. What Ken Griffey was to a bat swing, Ray Allen was to a jump shot. And so that team, to me, the difference is they're an older team. They're a vet team. Those guys hadn't been in the finals for the most part. Obviously, Cassell had, but they, knew that those were their last days, right? Like this is probably like their best chance. They weren't in their mid-20s like these Celtics two stars, but because those two Celtic stars have gone 2 years ago and they have failed, I do think that there's a sense of urgency. As somebody that, you were saying you're from Boston or a Celtics fan, like, this and they know this, like, until you win a championship in Boston, I don't care what your numbers are, you're just not going to be respected the same. You have to be in the fabric of Celtics lore to get in, to that company where you're mentioned alongside Russell and Bird and JoJo and, KG and Paul. Like, I think that if Boston wins tonight, two of the main people I'm watching is Tatum and Brown to see if there's just an explosion of emotion. I don't think there's two NBA players in the league that have more pressure on them to win for their franchise than those two.
I agree.
As you know, like Boston and LA, it's a different type of pressure, but LeBron has won one for the Lakers. AD won one for the Lakers. But for these two guys, like if they just break down and feel a release, I get it. Like another guy to keep an eye on is Al Horford.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only player that has played in more playoff games than him and not one is Karl Malone in NBA history, and he's about 9 games shy. So I'll be keeping an eye on Al Horford as well because he's now 38 years old, hitting 40, and at his time of his career, like I think you start thinking like this is never going to happen. But because of what I just mentioned, I do expect the Celtics to be focused, to be ready. They play how they play, but I don't think there's going to be this, we're going to get to go back home no matter what, and we could just finish it off there. No, I really think they're going to have the right mental capacity to try to end things and then, go do their duck boat tour in a couple days.
It's also so funny, the '08 team, they played multiple game 7s throughout that playoff run, whereas, this team has only lost the 2 games.
No, like I think if they win tonight, they'll be 70 and 80 and 20.
80 and 20, right.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. That '08 team, man, like I remember it, and Jimmy's going to laugh about this. There's going to be a documentary that comes out at some point. Like, why did it take them 7 games to beat the Atlanta Hawks? Why did they lose all the games in Atlanta?
You got a story? Oh, something about it. Chicken wings is really good, I heard, in Atlanta. Man. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard that's a specific
Something
place.
about maybe going to the ballet. Something about going to the ballet at night, maybe. That might be part of it,
Yeah. T?
Hey, Marc, TJ here. Pleasure talking with you. Always been a fan of your takes and the way you look at the game. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I know the Celtics are up 3-0, and barring something that's never happened before, they're going to win that Larry O.B. So my question to you is, a sports talk question. How do you think history is going to remember this Celtics team, assuming that they do go ahead and raise banner number 18?
I think you got to ask that question in 5 years. Right. Going back to that 2008 team, there's nothing that made me not think that they were going to not even repeat, but three-peat. I thought they were super special. And if you look at them the next season, and this might bring some pain to my man there that's a Celtics fan, they were actually better the next season.
Yep.
And then Kevin Garnett blew out his knee.
Mm-hmm.
Never the same. The Celtics were never the same after that.
True.
And then Perk got hurt in Game 6 in 2010.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Garnett never gets hurt, like, they are one of the scariest teams in NBA history. And so it's hard to answer that question not knowing what the future will hold. The different thing about this team is just so much younger. Like, your two stars aren't even in their late 20s yet. Like, so they have the ability to maybe do something special going forward. But what the NBA is telling you now is, like, there hasn't been any repeat champions for a while. Nothing is guaranteed. Yeah, I bet you 2 months ago there was nobody that would think that the Nuggets wouldn't not only win it, but probably even be in the finals, right?
Yeah,
like,
true.
you thought that was a given. You thought that was a given, probably, that Milwaukee would be back the next year and that they would win it, or Golden State would be back. It's just that the parity within this league right now is sensational. There's so many good teams, and to win a championship, you got to not only be great, you got to be lucky, and you got to be healthy. And other than Porzingis, the Celtics have had that, and that just shows you that it's a paramount amount of scoring and talent that they have on this roster. And, you know, you keep this team together, you fix a couple little pieces. Drew Holiday's going to be there too, and he's been sensational defensively. Porzingis back. No, I mean, I'm certainly think they'd be the favorites next year, but, you know, there's some other great teams in the entire NBA that, if healthy, can battle with them.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.